Brooklyn Rob, Stephen Ross has been voted the best owner in the NFL in a player-led survey. Yes, everything graded out. Yeah, and the Vikings. Vikings were number one last year. This year, Miami took the number one spot. And it was listen, it's an awesome story that Miami graded well and how they treat their the family, the players' families, the facilities, the training staff that some of you think is terrible, all that kind of stuff. It's kind of weird because I've been around that franchise and there's a lot of great people in that franchise. I know we've had terrible luck, you know what I'm saying, but they did grade well. But in the end, got to win, dude. But what it says, okay? It says that Stephen Ross has created an environment that people want to be a part of. Tom Garfinkel has created an environment people want to be a part of. Greer, McKenzie, and Allen have brought in players overall that are pretty good character people, minus one guy that wants to attack some thick women. But overall, some pretty good people, allegedly. And so you got a mix here, and you got an environment, and then you got Mike McDaniel, who obviously caters to the players. So you've got it all, but now you got to prove you can win. All this stuff is great. It's fantastic that Stephen Ross will provide what you need to win, but now it's up to you to get it done. And that's where I put a lot of the pressure on Mike McDaniel. And let me tell you, he is not going to change his ways. One of the things I noticed about Mike McDaniel in the press conference, and it's not going to change, is who he is. And that challenge this year is going to be very interesting because he has to find a way to create a team that has more discipline. Okay. And if your team doesn't have discipline, then you have the pre snap penalties. You start making mistakes. You drop passes. You can't get plays in on time. You can't win challenges. The kind of crap that's been going on here for 2 years under Mike McDaniel. So it's interesting that he is going to have to find a way to become much more disciplined without becoming a disciplinarian, because he's not going to come up with the wall now. And all of a sudden he's not going to make you run the stadium. And he's not all of a sudden going to grow a chin and start going after you like Don Shula and looking at you and screaming, from the top of his lungs. That's not who he is. And it's not successful to try to change. You have to be who you are. But McDaniel does have the challenge of, okay, you want to be the guy that keeps it loose and you want to have some fun and you want to crack jokes and all that stuff. Okay. But if you want people to take that part of you serious, you need to have the results, because in the end, people aren't going to buy you anymore. The act gets old. The ums and hums, and the pregnant pauses and every answer in a press conference will become annoying. The jokes will not be funny anymore. That's what happens when you don't win. So if you want to be Dan Campbell and be Mr. Rah Rah up there, you better produce, because you end up like Mike Tice. And if you want to be Mr. Funny Guy, okay, you better win, or eventually they'll look at you like Jerry Glanville. And they'll say, yeah, he was a character. He left tickets for Elvis for every game. He always wore black. He played a really loose style of football. On offense, was just going for it all the time. And his defense also was always attacking. But he never won. And his act got old. And Jerry's style wore out, because in the end, there wasn't that substance. There was an NFC or AFC championship games, whatever conference. Did he play? Did he coach in both conferences? Not sure. Yeah, he did. Wasn't it Houston? Wasn't he also in Houston? Because he did Atlanta. And was it Houston? Yeah, check there for Glanville. But what the big moments weren't there on his resume. And so these are things that it gets old, and he's going to have to. I've seen all kinds of coaches. Being 57 years old, I've watched a lot of different coaches and personalities. And in the end, you better know how to teach them how to win.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.